13 Skywatch weather.
Well, our first flash flood warning has been issued for the day here in the mountains, and this is just the beginning of many more, I suspect, will come. All right, there you go. Flash flood warning until 11:15 this evening for Buncombe, Henderson, and Madison County. This includes Mills River, Fletcher, areas up into Royal Pines. You're talking areas like Bent Creek, Asheville itself, Swannanoa, you're not included, but you are if you're north of Asheville into Woodfin, all the way up into southern Madison County. This has been a tremendous amount of rain that's already fallen. The downtown rain gauge has 2 inches in it in about an hour and a half span of time. That shows you how hard the rain is, and it's coming down in buckets, and it's not moving away from the same areas it's been raining on. So the flash flood warning means you got to move to higher ground quickly in these areas. Don't get out. Try to run errands right now or fill up the gas tank or get ice for the possibility of power outages or things like that. Turn around, don't drown, limit your time on bridges above fast-moving floodwaters and evacuate if you're told to. Right now, it's mostly urban and street flooding that's happening. Storm threat timeline. Later today and tonight, obviously the heavy rain and flood threat continues. All day Thursday, it's flooding, it's wind, and a tornado threat on top of that. Friday morning, it's a flood and tornado threat that will continue. That wind is also going to be impactful, but not as impactful as it probably will be later on tomorrow into the very early part of Friday. Now, every major stem of the rivers here has a potential to flood. We're expecting flooding, and it could be major flooding on the French Broad. It could be expected to have high impacts on the Broad River, the Catawba and the Tow River likely to flood, the Pigeon River likely to see flooding. Again, it's going to matter how much of the runoff gets into these stems and certainly is flushed out. And on top of that, all the rain that has to fall into the rivers too is going to continue to add up. So very high flash flood threat tonight for many areas, and it expands tomorrow. Look at all of that purple. That is a lot of areas that will be under the risk for a flash flood. Virtually everybody in the Western Carolinas. Then that risk comes down a little bit on Friday, but don't let your guard down. Still a potential for flash flooding, and it's elevated to high in terms of the risk. There is a slight break in the rain. We probably start to push that heavy round of rain that's over the central part of the French Broad River Valley farther east, and then it just fills back in overnight into the morning. So look at all of this. It's like a fire hose that just keeps spraying water from the south to the north, and it just keeps coming. And there's not much to stop. This is just not going to stop. For hours on end, it will rain in many places. And then we might get a lull before the main event for Helene itself actually comes. This is the center of Helene that might come right over the western upstate and the mountains somewhere west of I-26. And then it finally moves quickly away. That's not until Friday afternoon, folks. So we got a long time to wait. And these numbers, again, are estimates. This by far could be more. I mean, 10 to 20 inches is easily doable down here in terms of the accumulations forecast for the southern Transylvania, southern end of Haywood, Jackson, Macon County, into eastern Buncombe, eastern Henderson. You get south of I-40, that's where most of the lower elevations got 8 to 10 inches, not the favored upslope areas. Again, some of those numbers will be inflated. And then 6 to 8 north of Asheville, 6 to 8 from Waynesville over to Bryson City, and you get 6 to 8 for the central part of the upstate, really from Greenville over to Clemson. Again, these are estimates. Again, could it rain more? Absolutely. Some of these numbers are going to be high and historically high in some cases. Impact timeline from the afternoon tomorrow into the very early part of Friday is probably when the risk for flash flooding will be extreme, if you will, very high, and it continues to be an issue with heavy rain. And that flood threat is going to be very high even beyond the shutoff of that rainfall, that steadier rain, because we'll have runoff. And gusty winds really have that impact into the wee hours of Friday morning, and we still have that risk for some tornadoes. It's isolated tornadoes that are possible. The risk is probably going to be elevated more so into the early part of Friday and the latter part of Thursday. All right. Temperatures, okay, well, what are they going to be like? Well, it's not really going to matter much, but 60s and 70s, there you go. So it's going to be a little bit cooler than average. And we have another weather warned day because of the potential for more flooding and flash flooding on Friday. Then finally, we start to dry things out into the weekend. So spot shower possible Saturday, but that chance is low. We got a better chance of some showers on Sunday in the 70s. Here comes another chance for showers Monday, but these are all low-end chances. Again, that is nothing compared to what we're getting in the next 36 hours. Obviously, that is going going to be most impactful. In the upstate, a couple of weather-worn days too. Obviously flooding, obviously a tornado threat exists for you as well tomorrow. With that wind picking up, we are going to have power outages, and power outages become scattered to maybe numerous or widespread. The possibility of that also in the cards as we have strong winds that will knock trees down.